good or really good, then it doesn't really matter. I think this offense
Yeah.
is going to be able to score points and be able to score points fast.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page as y'all. That's a really good point about their front seven. Honestly, I mean, well, we'll dive into more of the schedule and season predictions and all that. But the first 5-ish weeks outside of Arizona and somewhat New England, really good defenses to start out with. Obviously, we're going to be focusing on the Giants today, but I mean, we get the Jets coming in next week, and I mean that defense is scary. And then, not to look too far down the line, but, Arizona, wash, New England, and San Francisco weeks 4 and 5. So it will be interesting, to see how things progress. But I do agree with what both of y'all said. I think it's going to be, to me, this has all the makings of a Dak game. I mean, like, this is one of those games where Dak just, asserts himself as being the guy that we all know, and that the casual media, God forbid he throws one interception on Sunday Night Football with America watching, it's going to be brutal. Like, we're going to have to be active on Twitter defending him, just like we did all off
Absolutely.
season.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think, yeah, I totally agree. I don't think that this is a game where we probably see the best of Pollard. I think if we get 70, 75 yards out of him, I think, that's a solid performance, couple catches too. But this is a Dak game. I'm really excited to see what this offense looks like, as I know y'all are too. We talked about it before just with each other. This McCarthy offense, I'm really, really excited to see, see what that looks like, just because this is the first time that we'll be seeing like a new offensive structure in how many years? Like,
Yeah.
a long time since the Obama administration. Like, this is the first time that we're seeing, a new offense without, best of luck to him, but without the input of Kellen Moore. Like, it's going to be really interesting. McCarthy calling plays, and I'm really excited for it, to be honest. Yeah, I think CD is going to have a big game. I mean,
I
he
think
was
he
awesome
needs to have a
against.
good game.
I agree. I think for us to win this game, I think this game goes one of two ways. I think it's either, I don't see it becoming a shootout. I see it as either we dominate, we look really good, we win by like 10 plus, like not really a threat, like a 28-17 game, or I see it being like a close, low scoring, like 2017, 17-14 final, like where it's just kind of an offensive struggle on both sides. But I don't
Absolutely.
really know what to expect. I would lean more towards that. Our offense is going to look pretty good, especially considering Dak's history against the Giants. So
Absolutely. I also
I
think, as much as it is a Dak game, not to cut you off, Stu, I'm
you're good.
really excited to see what Jake Ferguson does as a tight end one. I think
Mhm.
that's kind of been a brushed over storyline in the offseason, with Pollard being a wide receiver, or Pollard being a running back one, the addition of
Right.
Cooks. Um, Jake Ferguson kind of had his coming out moment against the Giants when he hurdled and trucked a
The
defender
hurdle.
on the
I was just going to say that.
yeah, and this could really be his stamp. I mean, the Giants aren't dumb. The Giants have a great defensive coordinator. They know, okay, our front seven's pretty good. I'm not that worried about Pollard. We're going to really hone in on these wide receivers. Who does that leave pretty much in a mismatch situation, or even a favorable matchup for us? Jake Ferguson. I think if he dominates the middle of the field, does well high pointing the ball in the seams, and actually just becomes a threat over the cross the middle that we saw a little bit of Schultz do, and really what Jason Witten did. I mean, our history of tight ends doing well against the Giants. I remember Blake Jarwin used to have his coming out moments against the Giants back in the day. Jason Witten
Three
used to
touchdown
always
game.
dominate them. Yeah. And even Schultz, I'm pretty sure, had great numbers against the Giants. And so I think Jake Ferguson is one to watch in this game on offense. But I also think the Giants secondary, their front seven's good. Their secondary, primarily cornerbacks, that room is
Young.
weak.
I was
They're weak.
literally just pulling up ESPN to check their depth chart because I was going to say
Yeah.
I can't
It's
name
Adoree
a Giants
Jackson,
cornerback.
Deontay
Adoree,
Banks,
yep.
rookie.
Yeah. Well,
CeeDee
Banks
Lamb
also
should
is a
be-
rookie.
Yeah,
but,
CeeDee Lamb
yeah, two
should be
rookies.
licking his chops. He should be ready for this game and welcoming it because the Giants have one of two directions. You either hover a safety over this what will be a mismatch. In a Dory Jackson, Deontay Banks, I don't care who they put on him, it's a mismatch if it's one-on-one.
So
So they're either
cornerbacks are listed as Trey Hawkins III, never heard of him, Deontay Banks, Adoree Jackson, Cordell Flott, and Darnay Holmes, who CD destroyed last year.
Yeah. So that's an area where CD just needs to be licking his chops. And let's say they do double cover him. The addition of Brandon Cooks and his speed is going to be so game changing for the Dallas Cowboys. Just to be able to have that wide receiver to finally take the top off the middle, top off the defense, and also that guy just to be Dak's safety blanket. Remember Cole Beasley back in the day, the man beating slot wide receiver? We've been really missing that and missing a safety blanket outside of a non-athletic Schultz. I don't care if you pull up his combine and he had a good RAE, whatever. I don't care. He wasn't good after the catch. And Brandon Cooks just brings a different element. So I really think the passing game, primarily CD, primarily Gallup, primarily Cooks, and Ferguson is also just something to really watch.
Yeah, Bennett, you brought up the schedule earlier, and just looking at those first 5 games, this Giants team honestly has probably the third best front seven and third best D line that we're going to face in these first five games. So I think it's going to be a huge telltale sign of what this offensive line is made of. Yeah. And we all know they're going to be, if they can stay healthy, they're going to be a top 5 O-line, maybe a top 3 O-line, maybe 1 or 2 with the Eagles O-line in the NFL. So I think with how weak that secondary is, that the Giants have to have a good front seven and have to produce, and they know that. And so they're going to come out headhunting on Tyron and Biotis and all of them. They're going to headhunt for him. Dexter Lawrence is coming for Biotis, that. And so I think it's be a huge sign if this O-line is going to be good, if they can stand the third best we play all season, fourth best we play all season. Who knows? I think the Giants are that good. So I think it's going to be a huge sign to see what our O-line is made of if they can stay healthy and how well they play together.
Great. Yeah, I think especially this week, that's a good point. That was kind of my thinking too, is that this is like probably the third best front seven. I mean, the Jets is really good. And I mean, we obviously know we're all too familiar with San Francisco. But yeah, this is going to be a really big test for our O-line. All the reports I've read so far, and if y'all have read anything differently, correct me, but it looks like Tyler Smith is going to play. Yes. So it'll be interesting to see how he holds up, especially going up against Lawrence and some of the other big guys on that D line of the Giants. But I think what I'm really, and I've said this before, I think what I'm really most excited to see is our defense against this Giants team. I mean, I've been a huge Stephon Gilmore fan forever. I mean, I grew up a South Carolina fan. I'm really, really excited to see him and Trayvon working together and how that dynamic is. I'm curious to see how much Daniel Jones is going to try Trayvon Diggs, because the other thing is that, like, I mean, who's their wide receiver one? Slayton, Hodgins, Wandale Robinson, like,
Jalen Hyatt.
I'm really curious to see how they try to attack our defense as well. I mean, we know Saquon will probably be in line for a decent game, as he usually does against the Cowboys. But like, when I say decent, I mean 80-ish yards. He'll have some do a little damage in the receiving game. But like, I don't see this being the kind of game where people like Saquon fantasy owners are raving because he went for 120 and 2 touchdowns. Like, I just don't see that happening.
Agreed. I also think a really great matchup is going to be Waller and whoever we put on him, whether that's Curse.
It's got to be Curse, right?
Or maybe I saw something where everyone's expecting it to be Curse. So why not try to match size and athleticism to Waller and see what Israel McClamu can do?
Ooh, I like that.
Dan Quinn is all about these mind games, and I know you're in Israel's stan, Burke, but it really makes sense to me to say, all right, if Curse needs like time on the sideline, if he needs to catch his breath, I think it's a 1-for-1 swap with Israel, and I'm actually really excited to see what he can do because he plays physical, he's also athletic, and he's 6'4". I mean, to pair all those tools up, that is a J-Ron Curse regen, probably with more athleticism. And probably so just better. To really battle test him early, and along with what we said earlier, to really battle test this team right out of the gate within the first 5 weeks, we're really going to see what we're made out of. And this defense, whether you see it in the training camp videos of drawing to our offense, of really having that dog mentality, like it's time to put up or shut up, especially with Dan Quinn. He came back for a reason. He loves this team. This is so much talent around Dan Quinn where we really get to see Dan fucking Quinn. We get to see what he's made out of. Backwards hat Quinn, standing up in the box, calling down plays to Van Der Esch. We get to see him. We get to see Micah say everyone gets the smoke. I know we see all these Twitter things, but our defense is really, really bringing in that dog mentality. And you know what? After so many years of seeing, he was a very good player, but the Sean Lee, the DeMarcus Wares, we'll tackle you, but we won't do anything after. Like, we'll just get up and act like we've been there before. That's nice and cool and all. Like, I like that Notre Dame Duke mentality, but give me these Alabama and Georgia dogs. Like, give me these absolute dogs that they're gonna make a play and they're gonna let you know about it. And I'm just so excited to see that. And I'm also really excited to see how our defensive tackles do, whether that's Hankins, whether that's Osa, whether that's Mozzie. I really want to see a good game because Danny Dimes, he's, as much as we make fun of him, he's got legs under him. I mean, he's not afraid to run the ball. And so if Micah and if D-Law and if Dorrance and Fowler, if they're getting pressure along the edge and Danny Dimes could step up and run or step up and buy more time, that's going to be scary. So we really need to have some interior rush or to at least push the pocket on Danny and make him uncomfortable. So I'm really excited to see if our defensive line, more specifically our interior D linemen, stepped up this offseason.
How many snaps do you guys think Mozzie gets?
However many snaps Hankins needs rest. I think we're going to ease him in. There's no reason to throw him in the deep end yet. I think this is comfortably still Hankins' position. We brought him back
like
for
70%, 30%. Is that what you're thinking?
Probably
75-25.
Something like that. Yeah. Mozzie's going to be used as our gadget guy. I mean, if it's a 3rd and 1, we're probably going to put him on with Hankins. But, I mean, I really don't see him getting out-snapping Hankins, and I don't really see it being close unless for some odd reason the scheme calls for it. But I think the less we see early on of Mozzie, and I'm a big Mozzie guy. I think I really like him. I think he has the sky's his potential. But I think the less we see of him, at least out of the gate, is the better.
Yeah. Is this the healthiest we've seen Van Der Esch in quite some time?
This is the healthiest our linebacking core has been in quite some time. Knock on wood, but
outside of Overshown.
Yeah, outside of Overshown.
Yeah. But I mean, I think Van Der Esch is like Donovan Wilson had to come up last year and he made a lot of tackles. I love Donovan Wilson, huge stud, huge fan of him. I think Van Der Esch is primed for a big year. You know, you just talked about Sean Lee earlier. If it wasn't for his neck, I think Van Der Esch could have potentially been better than Sean Lee. How he was, I think he runs this defense so well with him and Dan Quinn's ear. Just telling him what he sees all the time and then bringing in plays and hyping the boys up in the middle of that. You're talking about the hype, how they just jaw and talk. Van Der Esch is right there with him, and he loves to talk and he loves to hype up the boys. And I think Van Der Esch is primed for a huge season. Stays healthy.
Oh,
yep.
Yep. Let the wolf howl. Howl.
I'm actually really excited to see what him and Damone Clark do. This is an off-season. Damone Clark didn't have an off-season or training camp or anything. He kind of just came in mid-season, and Anthony Barr was sucking, and he had to play. So seeing him and Van Der Esch, it's going to be fun. I love what you said. Van Der Esch, for all reasons or not, is kind of that high IQ. He's the guy that calls the plays. He's the guy that reads and reacts to the play. But the people around, he's able to do that because we have people around him that see ball, hit ball. And I really can't wait. And Van Der Esch has a good game. That means Saquon doesn't. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. 100%. Agree with that.
Okay. Give me one player from each side of the ball that you're going to be paying extra close attention to.
Probably defensive side. I'm interested to see the matchup. Probably, I'm guessing Bland against Hyatt. Wouldn't you think?
Probably.
I mean, he's probably going to be the wide receiver 3, and he's going to be in the slot. I would assume so. And everybody, I was listening to NFL Live today. You know how Orlovsky and all of them talk about the Giants and the Cowboys matchup. Their whole thing is Jalen Hyatt going off the field, just running deep. I mean, I think Bland is, like he showed last year, he's a real deal. I mean, as that slot guard, that's his spot, and we need him there. And with Gilmore back, I mean, he can just roam free at that slot and shadow those guys. And I think that I'm interested. It's not a huge matchup, but I'm interested to see how he does it against the guy that runs a 4-3. You know, I'm interested to see.
Yeah, that's definitely a great matchup. I hope we don't play off of Hyatt and give him a little bump at the line of scrimmage, so he can't kick it to high gear right off the bat. But on offense, I would say the person I'm really excited to watch is Brandon Cooks. I just that offseason addition. Feel like it's almost been overhyped around the league. I mean, even the part of my take guys still thought Brandon Cooks was on Houston until last episode. And so, I mean, like, it is something where he has always put up great numbers on the Patriots, the Rams, the Saints, and the Texans. He's kind of a journeyman, so people kind of discredit him. He hasn't found that home. But, he just adds something that we haven't had in a while. I mean, this time last year, we were going into week 1 with who as our wide receivers? Noah Brown and Dontario Drummond as our wide receiver 2 and 3.
Dennis Houston.
Yeah. Like, the step up in talent that we have in our wide receiver room to, let's say, scheme dependent, Tolbert comes in. Tolbert's earned his wide receiver 4 spot. And to the point where if he steps on the field, I'm not like, shit, like it's a run play. One that would be Noah Brown, It's finally a place where I get to be like, okay, let's see if Jalen Tolbert can cook. Like, let's watch him. So seeing Brandon Cooks and more specifically seeing how him and CD complement each other. CD really hasn't, besides Amari Cooper, RIP, love him, but he really hasn't had that complimentary piece in a little while since Amari Cooper. And I would even argue him and Amari Cooper weren't that complimentary of each other. They were kind of the same type of wide receiver. And so having Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb, just watching them cook with each other and both of them coming out in this offseason and saying, I don't care what stats I put up because if they double cover me, the other guy's single covered. And I like that matchup.
I love that.
That's the ultimate great mentality to – Brandon Cooks is finally a great vet to have in that room. That room is very young. Like, Gallup was our vet last year. I mean, like, having that guy in that room to help and also just to calm our guys down and say, hey, like, we're built for this. We're NFL wide receivers.
Yeah. And then did you have
I'll go offense. I'll go offense. Yeah. Mine is, I think for the first 4 to 5 weeks, my guy to watch on offense is going to be Michael Gallup. Just because we all know, coming off he finally has a full offseason, coming off the ACL, what he does. He now gets to be back in that role that he had his first couple of years, that WR3. I mean, I think that's the role that he shines in, and that we need him to be that WR3. You don't need him to be that 2 or 1. So him being that 3, it's huge for him. And he keeps talking about his mental state. It's 10 times better than it was last year. I mean, coming off of 8 months of ACL and you're back in week 4. I mean, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow and having to come through. So I'm excited. I'm actually really excited to see him and how he, like you said, complements Brandon Cooks, complements CD. how he complements those two guys. Because I mean, we all know when he's healthy, he's a dog. He's probably the best WR3 healthy wise in the NFL, in my opinion.
Him or probably, I guess, like Tyler Boyd, maybe.
Yeah, it would have to be that. It'd have to be Boyd.
And I'm taking Gallup. I mean, what you said, Clay, and for as much as CD and Cooks are like rack route running guys, and Gallup's that high point toe tap on the sideline. Like we've seen
best toe tap in football.
Yeah, we've seen him morph his body into things that I would have to go to the ER if I even attempted. So, like seeing that, and also just the pressure and weights lifted off his shoulders now. Like he knows he doesn't have to be going for 100 yards a game or getting a touchdown a game. He gets to kind of just go through it and just play football. And that's when we see Gallup and we see people at their best is when pressure's off their shoulders and he just gets to relax and play the game, you know? Like he gets to do what he does. And saying that Giants cornerback room, what, you gonna put a rookie on Gallup? He's gonna fucking eat. He's a vet. He's a vet.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll shift to defense. And what I'm really excited to see, too, so I'll keep it short, is how our safety room is. Whether it's the Curse on Waller matchup, Donovan Wilson flying to the ball, or Hooker just playing that deep third. I'm really curious to see how they are this year. I mean, I guess I'll be the majority of Cowboy fans that say we have a top 5 safety, if not the best safety room in the NFL. And they're so underrated.
So underrated. It's ridiculous.
I really want to see them kind of just use that dog mentality. We kind of got that mentality from that room, whether it was Wilson or Curse. Hooker's kind of been that smaller figure in that room, less prominent, I'll say, but he still does a job. He was a first-round pick back in the day. I mean, like, he does a job. And so I'm really excited to see that. And I'm really excited to see what Damone Clark does. We really got to know Van Der Esch as that read and react guy. He'll stop maybe he'll get a tackle for loss here and there, but like he'll keep the running back in front of him as best as he can. But Damone Clark shooting gaps, and really, like, if we bring him on a blitz, how's the line going to protect? Are they going to stop doubling Micah? Are they going single on with every single one of our defensive linemen? Like, if they do that and we're blitzing, good luck. I mean, Micah's been talking all season how hype he is. We've been seeing all these videos. I dare them to run Evan Neal out and just put him on an island against Micah. I let D-Law do whatever he wants to do against Andrew Thomas, but until Evan Neal shows me otherwise, I am lining up Micah and I'm lining up the 3-tech to that side to make sure Evan Neal is on an island until he proves me otherwise. But I think Damone Clark really could have a great game. He's kind of showed me in little bits and pieces last year and mostly in this preseason that he's that sideline to sideline guy. He tracked ETN on the sideline. He tracked Kirk on a wide receiver screen. He has legs under him. And so being able to utilize that against a freak athlete in Saquon and just minimizing the total games out of their run game is just going to be huge. And so I really think we really haven't had a good linebacking unit in how long? I guess rookie year Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith.
And Jalen,
that's when,
that was our best one in recent memory. Before then, Sean Lee, Bruce Carter. Keep in mind, fans, that these are Romo era kids. Like, we never got to see like the Great Wall of Dallas or any of the '90s teams. Like, we really haven't had talented defenses in our lifetime, and this by far is the most talented defense. So I'm just so excited for that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead with my 2 picks. We kind of alluded to it earlier, and it's something that I know Stu is a little bit more down on him than we are, Spanky. My player to watch on offense is Tony Pollard. And I say that because I'm curious to see, I mean, a lot of Cowboys fans have been chomping at the bit to get him as RB1. They've been pounding the table, standing up for him for years. and he finally has this opportunity. And I'm really, really excited to see him just hopefully. I mean, we all expect him to grab this opportunity by the horns and absolutely ride the shit out of it throughout the entire season. I'm very excited for Pollard on offense. We already mentioned it earlier, about the first 5 weeks, that like this is going to be some tough front sevens that he's going to be running into. But I'm excited because it's going to be a lot different than what we saw like when Zeke would run last year. Like you knew when Zeke was in the game, teams were going to stack the box against him. Like Zeke wasn't a threat in the passing game. We know Pollard is a lot more of a threat in the receiving game. Like, he was our, change of pace, third down back, kind of guy the last couple of years. Now we get to really see him, take this first step against the Giants and being our, bell cow RB1. So I'm very excited for him. That's my offensive pick. My defensive pick, I mean, this is kind of obvious, but it has to be Micah Parsons. I mean, Spangler, like exactly what you said, the way he's been talking all offseason, I am so excited to see him. I mean, like, I probably sound redundant almost with what you were saying, but oh my God forbid they leave Evan Neal on an island with him. I mean, Daniel Jones might be taken to a hospital, like legitimately. Like, I am so excited to see Micah. I mean, he expects to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think he would be our choice to win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he was last year, and I mean, he's been second in DPOY voting his first 2 years in the league, and he's showing no signs of, not improving. I mean, he got a lot better last year, and especially with him playing, with his hand in the dirt so much more now, or at least that's what we've been told and what we're led to expect. I am so excited to see him, especially just because it's against the Giants, and Micah. I mean, like we know how he is, that competitor in him. Like he, outside of probably San Francisco, this one and the Philly games are probably the ones that he has circled, being like, can't wait for that season opener. Can't wait to play San Francisco again, and I can't wait to beat the shit out of Jalen Hurts. Like, this is one of those games that he has marked. He's been looking forward to it all offseason. I am so excited to see what number 11 has in store for us this year.
For sure. Sure. And arguably robbed of DPOY last year. I just want to throw that out there. Like, it could have gone either. It could have gone either way, but I understand the Bosa argument, but affecting a game in 5 different dimensions on defense is what Micah does. And I mean, we even saw him break up a pass against Dallas Goedert last year. We saw him run a fumble from Fields to the end zone. I mean, there just isn't anyone like him in the league. And he is the most competitive person, for better or worse, that I've ever seen. And so just seeing what he brought to our offense, or our defense, like, God forbid they leave Evan Neal on an island. Like, Danny, he might have, if that's the case, Micah might have 3 sacks by halftime. And then what? They're going to double team Micah, and then all of a sudden D-Law's free? I mean, come on. D-Law has been such an underrated asset on this defense for how long? I know we're in a Cowboys group chat, but we've had people in the group chat even call him bad at some point. And it's just like, man, you forget what he does. He is one of the best run defending defensive ends in the league. High motor guy, for better or worse. Again, I mean, all gas, no brakes. If the quarterback does a little step up in the pocket, D-Law's in another dimension. But he's also a guy that really plays against the Giants and plays well. So I'm very excited to see just our defense hopefully dominating. I mean, it doesn't matter if our offense could score however many points if the defense can't stop them. I have faith in our defense not running into that risk, but let's try to paralyze some fear into the Giants early in the season, along with the rest of the league. These guys have ears. Dak has ears. Micah has ears. They see first take.
They all know what's going on.
They read Twitter. They know that absolute just how big the season is for the Cowboys.
Yeah,
and Tyler said it perfectly today too. I watched some interview with him where he's like, Dak's a dog. Like, you guys forget how much we actually sacrifice from our family, of our bodies, and how much we really want to win. And hearing Tyler Smith was a rookie last year, that many of us were like, why the fuck did we draft him with Linderbaum forward? Like, why did we? The most holdings in FBS. He came in and did a job, and Dak's just a leader of men, and I see this reported nowhere. He is the most underrated player in the NFL because of that damn star on his helmet. And you know what? I'm just going to call it now. I hope we see a fucking pissed off Dak Prescott. I hope we see him run the ball when the option in the passing is not open. He's a big boy and a great runner, and people forget that ever since that ankle injury. But run the fucking ball. Trey Lance should have lit a fire under his ass. The media should have. It's put up or shut up time for Dak Prescott, and I'm riding with 4. I love him. I'll defend him to the death, and I think it's going to be a big game for him.
That's our guy.
And I think if this, I don't want to harp on this anymore, but like this year, in my opinion, y'all know how I feel about Pollard. I'm not huge on Pollard. I'm a huge Dak guy. Always have been, always will be, no matter what happens. But it's still, you have to perform well in big moments. And in my opinion, this is a make or break year for him. You're not getting that huge contract that he wants big time next year, or I think that's coming pretty soon. It's probably next year, I would assume. Cut that cap space, get all that stuff. But he's going to get a big contract. He's not getting that if he does not perform well. I mean, that's what happens when you're the QB1, especially on Dallas Cowboys. Everybody's looking at you. And if you do well in big games, you're not getting paid like you should be getting paid. And I'm a huge Dak guy. Y'all know that. And this year, I think you'll see it first game. Yeah, very early, I think you're going to be like, okay, it's a different Dak. This Dak, he's ready for the big moments. Because it means it's something bigger than Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, first game of the year, Sunday Night Football. I mean, it's bright lights right off the get-go. I mean, we played the Buccaneers back-to-back seasons, Sunday Night Football and Thursday Night Football. I mean, he knows what's at stake here. He knows, and he's ready. He's ready. And I'm pumped to see. Really pumped to watch.
Yeah. All right. So we'll jump into schedule predictions after, but let's just go ahead and start with week 1. And for this week specifically, I think we'll go around the horn. We'll say score prediction, and then for the rest of the schedule, we'll just go win or loss, just to kind of speed it up. And then as we roll out the podcasts more in depth, then, obviously, when we do the predictions, we can do score and all that. So let's start week 1. We all filled out the spreadsheet. We all have us winning. That should come as no surprise. But I want to know the score and what is the key to the win? Like, who is the guy that after this game that we're going to be saying like that's the reason we won. He was the key. We'll start with Spanky.
I like 31-17 Cowboys, and we've said it before, but Dak Prescott. We win or lose the game with the quarterback. We've been raving about our wide receivers, how weak of a defensive back room the Giants have. It's Dak Prescott.
I'm going 27-13. And I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball. And it's either going to be – I'm going to have 2 predictions here. And it's either going to be because Micah Parsons has 2.5 sacks, or Stephon Gilmore gets a pick in the third quarter when it's 20-13 and gets a pick, and we go and score a touchdown, win by 27-13, win by 14. That's my prediction.
Love it. So both of you have 14-point wins. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna be a little bit more optimistic. I'm gonna say 31-24.
Yeah.
All right. So for the rest of this predictions, we have our records written down, which we'll get to at the end. A little bit of disparity, and it starts in week 2. Oh gosh, this one. I mean, it's daunting. It's the elephant in the room with the Cowboys. It's Aaron Rodgers in AT&T Stadium with the New York Jets, and two of us had us losing, one of us had us winning. And Spanky, if you could just touch briefly, you were the only one out of us three that had us winning week 2.
Yeah. I'm still not sold on the New York Jets yet. I'm the only one of us from the Northeast up here. I've heard Jets fans my whole life. I've experienced their ups and downs up here. They still need to find a way. They still need to find how to win. And we broke the Tom Brady curse last year in the playoffs. We finally beat him. I think all good things come to an end. I think we finally beat Rodgers at AT&T.
I love it. Yeah.
My whole thing here is that, like we always say, Aaron Rodgers, it all depends on how they do Monday Night Football against the Bills. It really does. If they win, if they look good against the Bills and their O-line, which everyone talks about, we've watched Hard Knocks, we've heard everything about their O-line, which it is not good. I mean, that's very fair for everybody to say that it's a terrible O-line. Right. If they held up okay against the Bills and they win by a touchdown or more, I think the Jets win. The Jets beat us. I do. The whole thing, again, is that offensive line. Because it's Aaron Rodgers, man. It's Aaron Rodgers, especially against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree. I also had us losing that game. And the reason's pretty simple. I mean, we're cursed. It's Aaron Rodgers, and it's, he's against the Cowboys. We're cursed. We'll go more in depth about that on next week's preview show. Okay, week 3, Arizona. I mean, pretty cut and dry.
That's just a
board.
wash. Yeah,
it should be a walk in the park. I think we're all on the same page there. Week 4, New England.
It's a little bit of a trap game, low key. Yeah. But I still think we win. But it is a trap game.
Looking ahead to 49ers, I agree.
Exactly.
But just they have no offensive weapons whatsoever besides Ramondre, and I guess that's it.
Zeke.
I was gonna say Zeke, but I was like, I can't put him as an offensive weapon anymore.
Yeah, I'm honestly personally excited for week 4 because I'll be going to that game. And that game, I mean, again, we'll talk about it more down the line, but I am excited to see Zeke back at AT&T. But I mean, Cowboys are winning that game. I mean, we'll just leave it at that.
Video is gonna get some teary eyes.
I might be in tears. Yeah. So that'll be fun. Week 5, San Francisco.
I hope the players on this team circled this one. I hope they circled this one. If we're gonna find out pretty early in the season what we're made out of. By the bye week, we're gonna know if we're a playoff or not team. I would say. We're playing. How many playoff teams are we playing? Giants 1, Jets 1, New England borderline, San Francisco, Chargers, I mean, like those are playoff caliber teams right there. Those are teams that are probably going to be in the playoffs, at least out of the.
You did forget Arizona though. Yeah. Could make a run.
Sneaky, but
that video of them in training camp. Have y'all seen that video of them running their route and they hits the DB in the head and then it's like, what is going on? And it's like the DN just comes out of nowhere, sacks Colt McCoy. No, he's not there anymore.
That team funny. That team might go 1-17 this year. I feel bad for Cardinals fans.
But I hope we have the San Fran one circled. Seeing all the embarrassment of the last play of last season's game, that alone, if I'm a fan and I'm ready to run through a brick wall in San Francisco, I'm ready to go put on a Cowboy jersey and make the voyage over there. If I'm wanting to do that as a fan sitting here in the Northeast, only being able to watch through a damn screen, I hope to God these players feel the same way, and I bet they do.
Yeah. I was on the same page with you. I had us getting our revenge. I mean, if we see him in the playoffs, I mean, that's a different story. We'll see what happens. But I had us winning that game.
The pretender. We're Baylor fans, people. We got to see him for all of college. And sure, he made that one diving throw, but man, you were just not afraid to play him. And I don't care what the talent is around him. I mean, it's Brock Purdy. I'm not quivering in fear over a quarterback like that.
I mean, the Niners did just trade their franchise quarterback. I mean, Trey Lance. I mean, generational, obviously, definitely. I've always believed Trey Lance wasn't a bust for the last 2 weeks. I've always been a really big Trey Lance believer for about a week and a half now. So,
come on, in 4 games.
So just to recap, San Francisco, Spanky and I had us winning. Stu, you had us losing. Week 6 at the Chargers. We all had wins around the horn.
That's gonna be a tough game, though.
It's a Dan
Quinn. I agree.
Right before the bye week, and it's Dan played against Kellen. It's Kellen Moore.
Him.
That's gonna be a fun game.
Oh yeah, that's right. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, so I think it could be definitely a Chargers offense. If I see 15 slants that whole game, I'm gonna be laughing. I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait for the 8-yard curl route.
12, Eckler up the middle for 2 yards, and then 3rd and 10 slant to Mike Williams for no reason at all, and we just blast Mike Williams, and he hurts his ankle and he's out the rest of the game. Something
slant.
Yeah,
I will say from the clips I saw in preseason. I mean, obviously I didn't watch Chargers preseason games, but it looked very familiar. I'll just
it's so familiar.
It looked very familiar, and I can't wait because Charger fans I've seen on Twitter are hyping up Kellen Moore like he's the prodigal son that we thought he was 3 years ago, and they are going to be so disappointed. Again, best of luck to Kellen Moore, though. Best of luck to Kellen Moore. But see ya. And then we have the bye week. We all had us winning the bye week.
Yep.
Pretty decisively, I say.
Yeah. And then week 8, Rams. Wins around the horn. I don't think we really need to touch much on that one.
Self-explanatory. Aaron Donald would probably be retired or traded by then. So.
Yeah. Sean McVay will probably be doing Dancing with the Stars or something by then. Yeah. So, not worried about the Rams. And then we have our first consensus loss, week 9 at Philadelphia. This one's gonna be tough. Going to Philadelphia, we saw last year when we were coming back from Vegas. Wow, was the last time that we went to Philadelphia. The infamous Cooper Rush blow-up game when the people on Twitter finally realized that he's actually not better than Dak Prescott. Shocker, I know, but this was our first consensus loss. So let's just touch upon it briefly because this is actually the only time. Well, I won't spoil the other one, but this is the only relevant game that we all had us losing.
Yeah. I don't think there's much more of an explanation needed that if we're going to lose one against them, it's going to be away in Philadelphia. Yeah. I don't think either team sweeps. I think it's pretty consensus pick to pick us splitting, and it makes more sense to me to have us drop the one in Philly and win the one in Dallas.
Agreed.
I mean, I would love to see us obviously win it in Philly, especially the first game of us playing a series of 2. But I don't see it happen. Yeah, they're great. It's going to be circled, and obviously we're going to want to win, and I think it's a close game. Just in Philly, that's the whole issue. Just it's in Philly.
Yep.
And that's just hard to play.
Yeah.
Hopefully Philly plays someone tough the week before because we play the Rams. So if we get out in front of them early, rest the starters, and Philly has to play a dogfight week 8, it could be something different. But who knows? It's too down the line to really tell and go over matchups. Threes will happen. So.
I mean, that's the the fun thing about us doing this now is that we can look back when we're doing a pod at the end of the season, hopefully after the Super Bowl, and we can reflect on how accurate we were. I'm on the same page. We all had a splitting, kind of spoils week 14, but Yeah, if we're gonna drop one, it's gonna be in Philly. I mean, uh, I mean, it's Philadelphia. I don't really have much more to say about that. I mean, I hate the city. I hate their fans. Whatever. Let's move on to Week 10. Giants again. We all had us winning. Feel like it's kind of the same story.
Dak Prescott's the Giants' daddy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think we need to say anything more.
Mm-hmm.
Week 11 at Carolina. I think this one's
Poor
pretty
Bryce
cut and
Young
dry.
that game, man.
Yeah, rookie quarterback against Dan Quinn and co. Have fun.
Yeah, I bet Dan probably won't even start game planning for that game until like Thursday, and he'll just be like, "Oh yeah, we got a rookie quarterback, middle of the season." Yeah,
It's that crap of an O line. Oh my gosh,
we are going to dare them to pass.
Micah Parsons is going to destroy that small quarterback. Oh my gosh.
Hot take. Week 11 could be the week that Micah Parsons establishes himself as the defensive player of the year. Like that could be like we say it all the time, like legacy game. That could be like a 4-sack game, like legit.
Yeah.
That could be the old. I hate to bring this up, but the Dallas Cowboys Atlanta Falcons 9-sack game or whatever it was.
Adrian Claiborne.
Yeah. Whoever, how many sacks that was is ridiculous. Like someone could have.
Or Chaz Green.
Chaz Green. Someone could have. God. The only issue is that it's going to be a blowout and be 45-3, and you pull them at halftime. That's the only way you wouldn't break the record. Somebody wouldn't break a record that game because those tackles are horrendous.
Yeah,
like I feel bad for Bryce Young.
Carolina to me is like a step up from Arizona. Like they're gonna be pretty bad. But at least Carolina fans, at least you have a rookie quarterback. Like you have a direction finally. So
yeah, for real.
I don't know if I know y'all's answer this. Who would y'all rather have as a quarterback as a rookie? Was it CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson?
I would rather have Bryce.
Yeah. Stroud's the bottom of my list, to be honest with you.
I hate to do it. Texas fans already hate us anyways, but Stroud's 3, Richardson 2, Young 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
I won't. Yeah. I mean,
I would argue Richardson.
I won't. Yeah. Upside wise, it's obviously Richardson. I won't bash on Texans fans too hard. I was a really big Stroud guy coming out. I think he's going to be the one that breaks the Ohio State curse, but he will struggle this year. I mean, I think all the rookie quarterbacks are going to struggle this year. I mean, Will Levis probably won't even play. Bryce's wide receiver 1 is like Adam Thielen. Richardson. I mean, Richardson has a running back that like doesn't want to be there, and just a garbage team outside of Pittman Jr., Quentin Nelson, and his disgruntled running back. And then who am I forgetting? Stroud. I mean, Stroud plays for the Texans. I mean that sucks.
Yeah,
we won't kick them down while they're down too much. Week 12, Washington. Spanky, you had this one is interesting. Spanky and I had us winning. You had us losing this one.
Yeah. I think Washington's criminally underrated this year.
I agree.
We speak about our front seven and our defense, but they have Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Chase Young, Emmanuel Forbes, that curl safety. They're a great defensive unit. They got ballers in their wide receiver core, good running backs. The only thing they're missing is a quarterback, and so I'm gonna have us drop one. They're a scary team. They've kind of showed our really good Cowboy teams in recent memory a loss. Like we lost to Colt McCoy, we lost. They're just a great team, a great unit. Running the ball on them is gonna be tough. Emmanuel Forbes has potential to be really sticky like sauce. So I'm going to say we lose one.
Yeah. I think this division, it always happens, but like it could just eat each other apart. I mean, sadly can only be one team to make the playoffs from this division. I don't think it'll happen. I think there'll be 2. But I mean, the way everybody can I have us going 4-2 in this division. I don't want to spoil the next 2 games, but I could see the Commanders. I could see them being, like you said, that defense that front four they have, and they got Forbes. I like him a lot. I think he's the real deal. I think we had the potential to be this division has the potential to be the best division in football.
No, I agree. I think it will be the best division in football. And I also should have prefaced this week by saying that starting from week 12, there's not an easy game on the schedule. Like Carolina, hopefully we are destroying them at halftime and we can pull our starters, because the gauntlet that we go on from weeks 12 through, I mean, hopefully 18, we have a playoff spot locked up, but it doesn't really matter like last year. But week 12 on is brutal. Like it is absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
And this game is one that I went back and forth on as well. I'm on the same wave as you, Spank. I think I was talking about it with some of our buddies the other day. I think Washington has the potential to be like the Seahawks of this year, where no one's really talking about them preseason, and it simply is because they have a giant question at quarterback, like they did with Geno last year. And like if Sam Howell is as good as all of my Commanders buddies from back home believe he is, that's going to be like they're going to be a good team. And I don't think either of our games against them are going to be easy. And I guess it kind of segues us into week 13. This is another one I went back and forth on. You and I had us winning, Spanky, or sorry, not Spanky, Stu. You had us losing. Tell us
I'm
why
a huge,
we lose.
I hate playing Pete Carroll. I think now that Russell Wilson's gone, y'all know how much I hate Russell Wilson. He's gone. I think he has the potential to take this team, especially all those draft picks they got. I think he has the potential to make this team solid. And I think I don't want to say that they win a division because the 49ers are just that good, but they have the potential to go 11-6, 12-5. And I'm a huge Geno Smith guy now. I mean, last year everyone thought that he was nobody, backup quarterbacks, what he should be, how he was beginning of his career. Now I'm totally different, and I'm on Geno Smith's side.
Yeah, I agree. So rolling into week 14, we already talked about it in week 9. Home against Philadelphia, we all had us winning. We've already talked a lot about the Eagles, how we think we're going to split. So we'll just leave it at that for now. The next 3 games, I do just want to talk briefly. I know we're getting close to Thursday Night Football, so we'll try to wrap this up quick here. Week 15 at Buffalo. To me, this game on our schedule, this is the most obvious loss to me. I think going to Buffalo, it's going to be cold as shit more than likely. And with those crazy fans, we don't play Buffalo often. Obviously, it's before our time, unfortunately, but, Buffalo, Dallas, big game. I think that's the most cut and dry loss on our schedule. Like, I didn't even think twice about that.
I did
But
too.
We got him in the Super Bowl, though. Trust.
And my whole thing, I agree with you, Ben, 100%. I was losing as well. I know we're going to look at the next 2 games. If we go 2-1 in those next 3 games, I think we might win this. That's when I'm like, yes, we're winning the Super Bowl. Just go 2-1. Just go 2-1 those games. Don't care who we lose to. I will lose to the Bills and then beat Miami, beat Detroit. But if we beat the Bills and we lose to the Dolphins, however it goes. If we go 2-1, we're a playoff team, and I'm all in on Super Bowl then.
Yeah. Spanky, you have anything to add?
I think our defense dominates their offensive line. I think Josh Allen runs all game. I think this Bills team's great because they have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Kincaid and Gabe Davis, but their offensive line is rather shite. So I'm just going to say that Micah Parsons and D-Law causes havoc. They haven't really shown us that they have a run game yet. I guess James Cook can really change that mentality from me, but it's going to be hard to beat our defense, and I trust our defense and offensive capabilities combined more than the Bills. Honestly, I don't care if we're in Buffalo. Personally, this is a game I really want to go to and make the trip up to Buffalo.
For real. Yeah, for you especially, that'd be awesome.
About that. It's a bucket list item, especially with it being the frozen tundra that week. But, I think a lot of people doubt the Cowboys' capabilities of playing gritty. We'll play gritty, and I think we beat them.
Yeah. Okay. So next, we got our last 2 games here. Week 16, Miami, at Miami. Me and Stu had us winning. Spank, you had us dropping this one.
Yeah. This is after the gauntlet, like you said, after Seattle, after Philly, after Buffalo. I actually have us going 3-0 in that stretch. We're bound to drop one. Tyreek Hill and Waddle scare me. It's a different team. It's a lefty quarterback. We're not used to playing those type of teams. They have Ramsey and Xavier Howard. They probably match up arguably the best any one team matches up against
back
us.
then. I totally forgot about that. They got Ramsey.
Kelvin Joseph revenge game too. Some are saying
for real, but I just think they're a team that probably has our number. I mean, 2 quick, fast wide receivers, a really fast offense, young, innovative offensive mind, 2 dog cornerbacks. I mean, they match up really well against us. If I didn't pick us to lose this game, we would have won 3-0 against Philly, Buffalo, or 4-0 against Seattle, Philly, Buffalo, Miami. Couldn't do it, so it drawed us up for a loss.
Fair enough. All right. Last 2 games here. Week 17, Detroit. We're about to be watching them any minute now. But Spank, you had us losing this one too. This is one that I went back and forth on it as well, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Dan Campbell, I'm very high on the coaching talent that he possesses. I'm very high on the talent that the Detroit Lions have this year. We're going through a gauntlet. It's almost about to be the end of the year. I'm not thinking we're resting guys yet, but guys definitely have playoffs in mind. We're definitely looking forward. It definitely has the makes of, okay, we'll drop this. Fine, doesn't really matter kind of a game to me. But I also think Detroit is one of those physical smash mouth teams. I don't care if we're indoors, but it's going to be a tough contest. Even if we do win this game, it's not going to be a blowout for either team. It's going to be a one possession coming down possibly to a field goal. So,
right. Yeah. No, I agree with you there. Moving into last game, I mean, we don't have to get super in depth just because, shouldn't really matter too much in terms of the whole playoff thing. Me and Stu had us losing. It's at Washington. I mean, Spank, you had us winning, breaking that losing streak there at the end of the year. But I think that we dropped this one. It's not really a game that we're gonna look back on it like exactly how we view the Washington game of last year. Like, we're not looking at that game and be like, oh, like we're terrified because we got destroyed by Washington in a meaningless game. Like, no, like it shouldn't really matter. Have us losing. Washington can hang their hat on that, go in the offseason happy. So good for them.
So I have it a little bit differently where I have us finished 11-6. So this game might actually mean something for standings where we are in the playoffs, because we're not. I don't think 13-4 or obviously 11-6 definitely won't. 13-4 probably won't win. Get the first seed and get that bye. Maybe it can, maybe it will, but my 11-6, I don't think. I think it's a big game. I just don't know if it's for the division or not. But I do have us going 11-6 to losing that game.
Okay. So that brings us into our closing point here. So you had us going 11-6.
Mm-hmm.
Spanky, you switched yours. You're now on the 13-4 train.
Yeah, I didn't actually switch. My math just sucks. So
okay. And then I went back and forth. It was the Washington Week 12 game that I went back and forth on, but I also had us going 13-4. So me 13-4, Spank 13-4, Stu 11-6, and I have us. I actually don't know if that 13-4 record is winning the NFC East or not.
Yeah, I want to look into that a little bit more. I want to see the 49ers schedule. I guess I want to see the Eagles schedule too, but the Eagles play basically same teams to be played, but
we'll save that for a later date. But it's Thursday Night Football season opening game is about to kick off. So we're going to go ahead and sign off here. This has been the first episode of the Dallas Ballers Club, and we'll be back next week. Thank you all for listening.